Greetings, monster enjoyers, and welcome back to the Dungeon Lunch Break. What the monsters do when they're not fighting you. I have my co-hosts here, Den of the Drake.
Sup, welcome.
The Bear Bard.
Present?
Yeah.
Present indeed. And Zill from the Twisted Pine Tavern. Today we're going to do something.
Whoa, hang on.
Whoa.
I'm here too. Jesus.
He just said Zill's here, sort of. We're moving on though.
Anyway.
Yeah, and Zill, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's good. I'll take that as my intro. Okay, let's roll.
He didn't trust you to not to cuss in the first 60 seconds.
I think I still messed that up.
He was gonna say a gamer word or something.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure. I saw it in his eyes.
Our next D&D horror story, Loot Goblin Rolls Railroads podcast.
Railroads podcast.
Guys, am I the jerk? My DM beat me up, threw me down a flight of stairs, and then stole my girlfriend. And then didn't even let me finish the intro.
Listen, we're not getting both sides of the story here.
Yeah, we need context. Anyway.
And Zill from the Twisted Pint Tavern. Today we're going to do something a little different, and I'm going to have Den of the Drake talk about the premise.
Okay, so we're all pretty familiar with the famous monsters of Dungeons and Dragons, right? I mean, you got your dragons, you got your illithids, your owlbears, all that stuff. And we're always focusing on like what to do when you encounter them, you know? Like how to fight them most effectively, how likely are they to kill you, that sort of thing. But what do you do with the body after it's dead? Well, you can't be wasteful about it. So, today we are ranking our favorite D&D monsters based on how well they would taste and how many things you can make out of them and just like how enjoyable an adventurer's feast with this thing as the main course would be. So we're going to be really diving into the hypothetical side of it and like fantasy spices and stuff. We're doing Hell's Kitchen. We're doing the Forgotten Realms kitchen here. Master Chef.
The Nine Hells Kitchen.
The Nine Hells Kitchen. Let's fucking go.
Are humanoids on the table for this list? Just asking for a friend.
I don't know. Okay, so basically the behind the scenes here, Peyton picked out 15 monsters from official D&D books from 5th edition. And we have our list here, but they're all behind spoilers, so we don't know what's on the list.
Right,
but
this is our first time seeing these monsters.
We have each been assigned one monster, though, ahead of time, so we could prepare as like a more intricate recipe idea for that one. And those will come up randomly as we go. But yeah, we have no clue what's on here. There could be humanoids. There could be goblin on this list for all I know, Loot. At which point, I'm sorry.
Oh, Jesus.
Well, so just to clarify, when we said our favorite monsters, I guess to be clear, we actually have no idea. They may be all monsters we've never even heard of before.
This is true. You know.
Exactly.
And the edibility of them may be limited. But yeah, and we got a tier list going here. I think S tier is like Monster Hunter World, like eating cutscene style success of a meal.
Oh yeah,
like because those always look so satisfying. Everything else,
delicious. It could be on Delicious in Dungeon, is what you're saying.
Yeah.
Exactly. Like you can have this thing for breakfast, lunch, dinner, dessert. Like it's delicious, and you could use it everywhere.
Oh yeah. Do we just want to jump right into the first one?
Yeah, I think we can.
Yeah, let's go.
All right. Have you ever been doing campaign prep and had an idea that you loved but couldn't find the right map? Or has your session ever gone in a direction you haven't prepared for but want to provide a fun encounter that feels like it was planned all along? Describe is perfect as a tool to supplement and enhance homebrew campaigns and adventure books with its huge library of read-aloud text and film-quality ambiances, sound effects, and music. Imagine a scenario where your party is supposed to be investigating a monster in the forest that is terrorizing the town, but an offhand comment you made about a goblin camp has the party captivated. Now you need to come up with a goblin camp on the fly, or the party is going to be disappointed and you don't know where to begin. If you use today's sponsor Describe, you can come up with a quick battle map, a great description, and the perfect ambient music. They'll think that you planned it from the start. Use code LUNCH when selecting your plan and get a free 30-day trial on any plan. So you can take it for a spin for your next session and see if you found it helpful without any risk. Click the link in the description and check out Describe now. First one.
Let me see if I can pronounce this word.
I don't even know what the fuck that is.
I have no clue.
What
Let me pull it up. Let me pull it up.
Yeah, please do.
See, that's why earlier I said I don't even know like the ones you may not have even heard
This
of.
is definitely
Oh,
our favorite.
I've
boy.
never heard of mine
Oh
before.
boy.
That's
We're
awesome.
starting
This thing's dope.
strong.
That's
Oh my.
And by starting strong, I mean 18 strength, motherfucker. Let's go.
Hell yeah.
Gorillan? Is that a gorilla?
I would pronounce it like Girlon.
Gorillan.
Girillon?
Girillon looks
Or-
right.
Yeah.
Or Girion if you're
Girion.
or Hirion if you're
Girillon.
Guillaume. All French and shit.
but it's the Goro ape. So
Yeah.
it's Mortal Kombat meets the zoo.
I was about to say it's got a Harambe with a Harambe
Gorilla.
growing out of it.
bro, if this was Harambe, we wouldn't be RIPing Harambe. I'm just
Yeah,
throwing
the
that out there.
timeline wouldn't be so broken.
It's true.
He would have caught the bullet and thrown it back.
Yeah.
Exactly. And then like returned fire with the child.
Yeah.
Now, does muscle mass make it more or less delicious? That's my question.
See, okay, it's more eatable, like edible muscle tissue to cook up more steak, stuff like that.
Right.
But the problem is it gets at times it might get too tough because I mean what makes the better tasting is surrounded by the fat, even if you don't like to eat the fat itself, but it's the fatty tissue connected to the muscle. But if he's just all, because you can see some of these pictures, like he literally has just muscle ripping through the fur.
Yeah. That's
Like you have plenty to choose from, but you gotta marinate the shit out of that and tenderize
and you
it
gotta
for a
you
Yeah.
gotta
minute.
slow cook it to tenderize it more too.
I will
Um,
say that this is like it's a little bit uncomfortable because this is a primate, like very clearly, and like humans
Close
are
enough to humanoid.
primates.
Yeah.
So there's definitely going to be a lot of overlap between what was it, Gleon, and like the way a person would taste. And I feel like I wouldn't be able to think about anything else other than when I was eating it. Like this is kind of what a person would taste like, and I feel like that would be like I don't know if I could deal with that, man.
Yeah, we'd have to ground it into mystery meat and try to keep it as removed as possible, maybe.
Exactly.
I
And don't
I
tell me it's
hear
from
ya.
a gorilla.
You're
Yeah.
very correct. But if you're an adventurer, you come across this thing, you kill it. I mean, look at that. That it is a large monstrosity, 4-armed gorilla. That is rations for a month.
And it's a
For a
carnivorous
whole
age,
party.
too.
It's
You have to
what?
remember that.
Oh, so then it's gamey too.
Yeah, it eats meat, which is not... I don't think gorillas eat a lot of meat, just in real
No,
life.
they eat next to none. The
Yeah.
only meat that they really consume is like rarely they'll scavenge corpses, but mostly they'll eat like bugs.
I said bugs.
Yeah, their main food is going to be like grasses and shoots and stuff.
Yeah, so that's probably points against it. It's worse than an actual gorilla in terms of probably how it tastes.
It does say they
Although-
can't climb, so they're constantly booking it across the forest floor.
Yeah, but
too.
here's the difference though. This is not a gorilla. This is a gorillion.
Yeah,
Gorilla.
right.
Exactly.
Which
so it
probably
eats
does
meat.
eat people. Because look at his teeth.
Oh, yeah.
Like those are predator teeth.
I
Those
don't
aren't-
know, man. They look
those aren't
pretty
herbivore
mandrill
teeth.
to me. They look mandrill or boar. Those teeth, like they could be
Yeah, but
easily found
boars
in
eat-
I'm
omnivores.
reading through the
Well, yeah, but they
description
got
here.
omnivore, so you're still getting the meat though.
Oh,
So
Yeah.
I don't think it's a carnivore. It's not.
Well,
definitely not
I mean, a
carnivore.
pig is an omnivore. We eat
That's what
pigs
I'm
all the
saying.
time. But I'm talking
Yeah.
about like obligate carnivores. Like we're not out here eating like lions or wolves or anything like that because they do not taste good. And like some
How do you
like
know?
big
Have you tried
omnivores,
it?
like bears, for instance, they're like filled with parasites. They will fuck you up for like it's not
Hey.
worth it because the meat's not even good.
Hey, I take
All
that a little
offense
personal.
intended.
I taste.
Now I
real
just want to
fucking
know
good.
if you can like grind up their teeth and take it to boost your testosterone or something.
Oh, for sure.
But the
100%.
tusk,
This
not
is
all
all
the teeth,
aggression.
only the
Medicine.
tusk. Only the tusk teeth he has at the bottom. Like the rest of the teeth you can't, but the tusk teeth, yeah, absolutely.
Well,
That'll totally
and
give you a
also, again, talking not just about the food sake here, but the hide on this thing would be tough and big.
So I'm going with like maybe a C or a D for the actual meat, but for a pre-workout, probably S.
I'm good with a C tier, honestly, on this one.
I'm
it's
good with
not
a C
the
too.
worst, but
it is still flesh. It's not
Yeah.
like an ooze.
Can we call it a C minus? Because I'm kind of with Drake on this one, where the humanoid-esque factor of it just it gets me a little bit. So I'm cool with the C, but it's C minus.
Yeah,
I
round it up
like
in a
a
pinch.
step. Yeah, it seems like a step above eating like an elf or a dwarf or something.
right. Okay. Well, that one was an interesting one to start with. Number two.
Very ethical.
Welcome to the podcast.
Welcome to the podcast.
Welcome to
It's
the
not
podcast. Yeah,
eating
ethics.
humans quite yet.
Humanoids were kind of on the menu then after all.
Yeah. I'm working on a Happy Barra video right now, and believe it or not, one of the biggest threats to gorillas is like poaching for meat. And that like really is upsetting to me. Yeah.
It's
Like there's a bunch of
unbelievable, yeah.
weird ass rich people who just like, wow, I really want to see what a gorilla tastes like.
Nah, man. I'm
And,
good.
like,
That's just rich
That's
people in
very
general.
upsetting.
They're just like, I see something there, I want to fuck it or eat it. Like that. I don't get rich people. man.
Jesus.
I don't understand that fucking lifetime. Am I wrong? Tell me I'm wrong. You
I
look me in my
you're
eye.
right.
wouldn't. I want to say you're wrong, but I'm really. I hate that you're not really. Okay, next one.
Next one.
Oh, okay. Everyone knows this one. It's a flump.
It's a flump. Okay.
That's
I'll
a
pu-
flump.
I'll
The
pull it
flying
up.
spaghetti monster.
But yeah, we all know what a flump is.
Yeah.
I mean, I will
just
say-
need a reference image.
As like something you can hunt in the wild, obviously it's an easier target because it's more trusting. You know, you can really get it to come close and then
Oh,
I guess
yeah.
take it out. So in the Underdark, there's harder things to eat if you have to catch it.
Yeah.
Oh,
Now,
yeah.
it does say here, tentacled telepathic creatures jet through the air in short bursts, venting gases with a sound that gives them their name. They
Okay, so a
they
little gassy.
fart their way through the air.
Oh, I see.
Okay.
And jellyfish aren't like, I don't know. I've never been a fan of. I haven't tried it or known many dishes that
Now,
have
are
jellyfish
they
in it.
jellyfish like, or are they like squid or octopus like? Because that really changes the recipe.
I know this
options.
isn't right, but that picture you brought up, its head looks just like a pancake. And
That-
like I can't.
That's
Yeah,
it
so
looks a
S
lot like
tier
a
breakfast.
sentient
S tier.
pancake.
Look, I'm gonna be honest. I feel like you could make one hell of a jelly with this thing. I don't like a jam or a jelly
well,
sort
if
of
they're
based or like
telepathic, so it could be like tingly. But again, if it's not jellyfish like, if it's more octopus or squid like, then I mean, people eat tentacles. You can make calamari.
calamari.
Yeah.
Yeah. You could be like
It's a
that,
step up
that
from
crazy lady
gorilla.
who ate a squid
It is.
live.
It's a step up from gorilla.
Definitely. This would make some good seafood, I think.
Plus, it's an aberration, which means it's kind of like eating an alien.
So here's the
Exactly.
one
And,
problem
like,
though.
look at that
I'm gonna
face. You want to kill it.
He's so happy.
Like,
Here's the one problem though. We keep going back to like the real world applications, but I think what Loot said was kind of key. This thing's in the fucking Underdark.
Yeah.
So you like environment changes taste. Like we were just talking about diet and stuff like that too. So he's going through and he eats things in the Underdark. Like what is he actually eating? Is it kind of absorbed?
Hopefully
if that's the
mushrooms, I
case-
guess.
Well, mushrooms, but then it's
yeah,
gonna
what
be
do flumps
adventures.
eat?
It's gonna be like adventures. It's gonna be like, do they? I think there's one that kind of just like absorbs their prey too, not like kind of esque of a like a black pudding or you know a cube or whatever, gelatinous cube. But I don't know if it's quite exactly the same where it just dissolves
Wait,
inside. it, but it
hold
does
up,
kind
hold
of-
up. What's that? Flump Assistance, that number one. It cooks a meal of Underdark delicacies.
So I didn't even see
So
that
your
yet.
food is making you food.
Okay. So
Dude, that's like, that changes shit.
that changes
Imagine
shit.
eating the meal and then still eating the flump anyways. That's kind of cruel.
Yeah, it has you, it cooks for you, and then you cook it.
I do want to point out.
What
So
would
not only do they propel themselves through the air via gas, which does kind of make me think it can't be the jellyfish type thing as much because you'd need some pretty like rigid tubes for that. But
Yeah.
also they have an
You have to
ability.
be a cephalopod of some kind.
Yeah. They have an ability stench spray, and their melee attack deals acid damage. So
I would say they're basically act like a squid in real, because yeah, they have like I was just about to say they have a like a ink, basically an ink spray but with gas.
yeah, foul smelling
run
away.
liquid and
I guess with the
poisons
right
you.
preparations, it isn't
Yeah.
a deal breaker, though, at least. Like, there's plenty of seafood that you have to work around it, right?
That's true. That
You know what'd
is
be really
true.
messed up? Okay, so you said it cooks for you. What if you treated it like a sous chef? You had it make all the bastes and everything like that, and then you basically look at it, you're like, get in the fucking pot. Like it
Oh,
you just
prepares
finish it off.
its own first
It's
fucking
like
steps.
digging your own grave, but far darker.
Exactly.
It's
You're
like the
just, it just made this
assassination of
nice like
Julius Caesar, but it's a fucking flump.
it made its
That
own
sets a
fucking
betrayal.
like, broth and shit, and then you're just like, get the fuck in there.
You just open the cage one day and you're like, go prep your own marinade.
Would this be like an A? Are we leaning towards it being a positive thing, or is it?
I don't know.
Is the gas
It's
just turning us off too
weird.
much?
I think B. I'm settling myself on B because there's a lot of like downsides of what is it actually going to be like? We don't know. It's got acid damage. It's got a stench spray. Maybe it's jellyfish like, so that could put it in C or D. But then there's
I
also
would
the
put it in
exotic
B, too.
nature. And
I'm happy with B.
Yeah, B, because it could be a delicacy. It could cook itself, allegedly.
B for
Plus,
the
there's a lot going
possibilities.
for it. On both
Imagine the vitamins and nutritional value in eating a flumphy, dude. They got two eyes there. People
don't know.
eat fish eyes for the vitamins.
I feel like they're just mystical enough for that top to be a pancake. So on the chance alone, I'm okay with it being a B.
That's what I
you
said.
could-
I'm going B for the possibilities, but staying a B just because there's too many like, am I gonna die after I eat this for the
Possibilities.
first times? Kind of I'm like almost like a
Yeah.
pufferfish.
Yeah.
B
This is a
because it's like
specialty
the
thing.
possibilities you could have with it, but it could also
Well, and
possibly kill me.
We've mostly been talking about the tentacles, and Drake's been talking about the top part as a pancake. But to be honest, the way you prep that, yeah, you got all the tentacles that may or may not be useful, but that top part it would be like 3 flump steaks at least.
Oh, for sure.
Bear, you're up with the next one.
Oh, speaking of
Jesus
a
Christ.
gelatinous cube, it's only I spoke it into existence. It probably was something different, and then he changed it because he could hear us talking now somehow.
Yeah,
Probably.
yeah.
Yeah, true.
So a gelatinous cube.
This is tough.
This is I don't know that this is there is one thing that I can think of with this because like the acid damage with them, how acidic they are is insane. They're gonna when you kill them, they're gonna just start like oozing and melting out and everything. The only thing that I can think of for this would be as a like additive to something like instead of vinegar, when you need to add an acid to something to help, emulsify or whatever.
All right,
Maybe.
but
So
let
it's
me-
like you don't
you
use like
wouldn't-
sulfuric acid for stuff like
No,
that.
that's why I said
Let me
maybe.
offer a counterpoint,
yeah.
though.
So you're saying
Right.
you wouldn't actually eat the cube, but you would use bits of the cube to cook other things. Like you could potentially stick with me here. You could use that as a marinade for the grillon to loosen up that.
You
meat.
see, yes, technically.
You probably could.
You know,
That's correct.
Theoretically.
But
Yeah,
I
I
think it
eating
depends-
the cube though.
When you think about it, though,
Well, you're
pineapples
using
kind of
it
eat
to,
you back too. So
Well, yeah, I said
True.
like you'd have to use it. It would help you create other dishes. Like maybe you could use it for the base of a stock, or
It just comes
you know
down
what
to
I'm saying?
how
Like, you wouldn't just
how well you can like cut down the acidity after its death.
Yeah.
yeah.
And would it
Well,
even
and-
be worth eating at that point?
yeah, would it just be bones? I guess of like the previous adventurers.
Yeah, we
Well,
were
see,
talking
here's-
about how
here's-
it being a carnivore was
Yeah.
like a negative for the gorillon. This thing is just like jello that eats nothing but people.
And all the leftovers are definitely not stuff you probably want to eat. It's the most
Oh,
stubborn
yeah.
parts of the adventurers.
Counter thought, because it's dissolving them, this is just one giant D6 shaped bone broth, right? Like
Made of sulfuric
See, that's what I'm
acid.
saying.
made of sulfuric acid.
Yeah.
So stick with me on this one. I have a potential
Okay.
comparison to think about. Okay, so what is the purpose of a gelatinous cube? They clean out dungeons, right? Like that's like literally what their purpose is they want to keep dungeons
Uh-huh.
clean. So they
Yeah.
that's why they're in the square shape, because they don't have to be squares, but they are because they fit through the corridors. Okay, so they are theoretically cleaners of the dungeon, right? We're all happy with that one.
Correct.
Mhm.
What is a clam?
I mean, if you're gonna
Or
go with the
not
cleaner
that.
route, go catfish.
Like
But
I'm
would
just-
you eat your
again-
Roomba though? That's the question.
I was
Well, no,
just
but
about
you-
to
no,
say I was not
but-
going to take a bite out of my Roomba.
No, but you've probably had like clams, oysters.
I have.
What are oysters?
Well, yeah,
Oysters
yeah.
are literally
Those
just
are
But
filter
ocean
feeders.
critters.
there's meat there.
I'm just saying. It's the same.
Yeah, the clam's not made of acid, Bear.
Yeah, but you know what I'm saying? Like, you use a potion of
just a very spicy bone broth, kind of going back to a previous point, I guess, if that's what you're trying to say.
I don't think there's any way we could take this out of D, guys. It's a fucking cube of
I
acid.
agree. It's
I
D
would
tier.
probably put it on D.
I would.
I was trying to give it the benefit of like something there, but yeah, I'm with
Yeah,
you.
I mean, it's good to play devil's advocate with a lot of these, because
I don't know,
most of them would
the
be a
jump
no if I had
from-
most options.
The jump from mollusk all the way to like 10
Gillette,
foot by 10 foot acid cube was a bit
Okay, I'm just saying
much.
they both clean their environments.
Like,
You're
you have
welcome.
to
So does a
remember-
fucking Roomba.
Yeah, but
most
this
of
is
these
D&D.
things-
Do you have magic Roombas? No, you
So
don't.
does a
Drake
gallon
them.
of bleach, Bear. That
Do they
also
have
cleans
bleach
its
in
True.
forgotten
environment.
realms? Yeah, well, you can have bleach for the rest of your life. I'm just saying.
Yeah, or
How long is that
maybe
gonna be,
what if you
buddy?
could
Yeah.
like dry and powderize the gelatinous cube and use it like citric acid? Maybe that's how sour candy's made in the Forgotten Realms.
You know, Bear
I
Bart's
think
kind
it's
of
a much
going.
better cleaning product here.
Yes. Okay, so we're not going to be cooking and eating a gelatinous cube. However, there is a business enterprise here where we could be like gelatinous cube cleaning crew, and we just have dissolved gelatinous cube in a spray bottle.
Or,
Okay.
or they say you are what you eat, right? And we're saying it's gross because they eat all this humans and stuff like that. What if we just let that shit loose in a buffet for like a week?
Free
And
range
so it's only
gelatinous
eaten
and then
cube.
it's
buffet
just
food.
yeah, it's just delicious at the end.
It just tastes
I
like
don't
a tired
think enough
buffet.
Golden Corral in the world is going to change the fact that it's a 10 foot by 10 foot cube of acid.
Gold Corral is
I
where
mean,
I went to,
theoretically.
by the way, just in my head. All right.
It's like one of those things where it's like the law of conservation of energy, right? It's like you feed it so much food to the point where it's not worth the food that you're going to get out of it.
That's fair.
Yeah.
All right, D tier for
Okay,
gelatinous
everything is
cube.
saying D.
Yep. All right, the
Next.
next
Give it the
one is Cave Fisher. This, ladies and
have to bring that
gentlemen,
one
is
up.
our first pre-made recipe, and
Hey, yo.
it is mine. And I will show
Hey,
you
yo,
what
okay.
monstrosity Peyton gave me to work with.
Jesus Christ, that's horrifying.
Isn't it?
The cave fisher.
Oh
Wow.
my god, that's scary as fuck. I love it.
Yeah.
Is it
It is
crab
a
like?
it is a like lobster spider hybrid that is medium size and lives in the Underdark and spins webs to catch bats and shit, but will also attack people.
Actually,
big
I
is
think
it?
that's a good one.
Like-
I'm not gonna lie. I think you got a good one because you just have to talk to any Cajun on like in Louisiana, and they got you.
See, I almost went there with it. I almost went to like a cave fisher boil or something, but
Mm.
I again, I read up on this one early because this is the one that I was assigned early. I need to read this little bit here. Valuable parts. Nearly every part of a cave fisher is useful after the creature's been dispatched, so that already helps the non-eating part of the quality here. Its blood is alcoholic and tastes like strong liquor. Several dwarven spirits include cave fisher blood.
Oh.
Some dwarves, especially berserkers, drink the blood straight. Cave fisher meat is edible, tasting much like crab cooked in strong wine.
Okay.
Oh, come on.
So
This
I
is- kinda
hands
accidentally
it to
got
ya.
one of the best
Man's on
ones.
easy mode.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm gonna go ahead and pull up just so you guys can see my recipe card here.
All right, you
and I'll
better
go
get out of the
through
park
it.
with this one.
Yeah, I'll go through it like I'm teaching you guys as new cooks in the tavern kitchen how to prepare this dish. So, new special is cave fisher cakes with a steamed fisher leg and blood wine glaze. So fresh caught from the deepest caverns, tender cave fisher meat spiced and pan fried to a golden crisp, drizzled with a rich glaze brewed from the beast's own fiery blood and stout wine. Served with a steamed fisher leg on the side, ready to crack open and dunk into the glaze. This is made using 1 pound of cave fisher meat, shredded and mostly body or claw. You then need to take a cave fisher egg and combine that with the meat in a large bowl. Then toss in half a cup of coarse breadcrumbs. Stale is obviously best for this. Then you got 2 tablespoons of mustard, 2 tablespoons of shallots, parsley, salt, and cracked black pepper. You mix all that together, form it into about 3-inch patties. Heat up your iron pan and melt your butter in it and fry them about 3 to 4 minutes on each side, making a nice golden and crisp cave fisher cake. For the blood wine glaze, you're just going to take some Fisher blood, which is flammable. Be careful. A quarter cup of strong red wine, some honey, apple cider vinegar, or potentially gelatinous cube, and a sprig of thyme. And then you will just prepare all of that, combining it over a very low flame so you don't accidentally blow up the kitchen, and keep it on heat for a little bit, and you have your glaze. Then you would plate it with a few of the cakes, drizzle some of the glaze on there, and then put a steamed leg and a lemon and a little cup of the glaze to dip the leg meat in. And you have cave fisher cakes with an additional cave fisher leg.
That sounds really good. Where would we find this recipe?
You turned this like a demon spider thing that looked like a cross between like Slender Man and like a lobster. And like you made it sound fucking delicious. That was wild.
It's crab cakes. It's Underdark crab cakes.
That was tasty as hell.
So I'm pretty proud of this one. When I saw what I got, I was like, oh, fuck you, Peyton. But
and then you saw what you got, and you're like, oh, fuck me, Peyton.
Yeah. I say the second I saw it,
yeah, no,
it's like as someone
really
who
works out.
As someone who works with people from Louisiana on a daily basis, like all I could, because like seriously, every week someone's asking me like, "Oh, you're from Washington?" Because obviously from Washington down here, but everyone's like, oh, you do crawfish. Oh, you have crawfish broils, crawfish. I'm just like, no, bro, our crawfish up in Seattle, they're like an inch long.
Yeah.
I don't have y'all freaking monstrosities down here. And so I was like, second I saw that, I'm like, man, you just made like every Cajun just like cream themselves.
Plus, it's a medium monstrosity. This is a 6 foot, 6 foot fucking crawfish, dude. So
yeah, that size is massive.
Yeah.
That's feeding the party for a good while.
And you get someone with the chef feet, and they can make you cave fisher cakes.
Hell yeah.
It is.
I actually legitimately, like, as I was prepping for this one, I was researching crab cake recipes, and I kind of combined the best sounding ones that sound like more old school into this kind of thing. And I gotta say, I want to try this with obviously crab, but I kind of want to make it and see how it goes. Having the leg on the side.
Out. Just get a really big spider.
Okay, bet.
Just go to PetSmart and buy like 15 tarantulas.
This kind of has to be S tier for one reason only, because it pairs its own self. You can make a wine with the thing that you're pairing it with.
You take shots of the blood, dude. And you know how much blood this thing
it wasn't
have?
S tier already.
So are we going S then?
Yeah, that might be the S tier, honestly. I don't know if anything's beating that.
I'll take it.
This is going to be hard to beat.
No, yeah, because my first thought is like crawfish broils or just freaking anything Cajun. Put it in a roux, in a gumbo.
I was gonna say you take the meat from this and then some whatever mushrooms you can get. You could try to make like an Underdark gumbo. It'd be weird.
100%.
You know what it reminds me of genuinely, and I don't know if this is like a podcast thing, but when I was getting recruited at a high school for football, the weirdest recruiting call I had was from Louisiana Lafayette, the University of Louisiana Lafayette. And for the most part, coaches, when you talk to coaches, they're not from that state, right? Like when I talked to USC, the guy was from Texas. Say they're all just from all over. But the guy from Louisiana Lafayette was Cajun, like Cajun as hell. I had probably a 15, 20-minute conversation with this guy. I have no idea what he told me. To this day, I don't know. I kid you not. The whole time he's talking, you come on down. He said something about crawfish broils, which I had no idea, because in Seattle we call them crawdads. And so he's talking about crawfish broils, because I guess that campus, they have giant crawfish broil pots on for student housing. And so he's just talking. He mentioned something about food, and bro, I don't know. I have no idea. The whole call was so surreal, because we had it was landline still, so it's like a landline with the corded phone. So it was like this crappy $5 phone I got from Goodwill anyway.
Back in 1850.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Early 2000s, but whatever. Tomato. I think it was 06 or something like that. But it's just, I'm sitting there. I'm like, I still to this day I have no idea what he told me.
He probably offered you like a full ride and like a starting position.
It was a full.
Man, I don't know what you're saying.
It was a scholarship. It was a scholarship. Like they offered me the scholarship. It's just,
damn.
But he was trying to sell me on Lafayette and everything like that.
How does it make you feel that there's a timeline where you're like a pro NFL player and you're in the timeline where you have a podcast with like 3 other D&D YouTubers?
You know what? It came with my kids, so I'll take it. But
Yeah.
thanks for reminding me how far I've fallen too. So
There's a reality out there where Bear is sitting in his hotel room about to go into the Super Bowl, and he's watching this podcast
surrounded
on
by
his
beautiful
phone.
women and piles of money.
Yeah, and he's just watching this podcast
Bro,
on his phone. Like, man, I wish there's a reality out there where I'm a D&D YouTuber, you know?
Yeah, I could have been a bear.
Yeah.
as a side note, I would be a 35-year-old D tackle. I'd be fucking retired by now. Let's be honest. JJ Watt was like right about my recruiting class. He's about to be in the Hall of Fame. So
All right, we gotta
I
stop
think I'd
talking
be
football
done at
before all
this
the
point.
nerds leave.
Yeah, I don't speak football. Peyton, keep the football bit for the uncut, but cut it for the nerd cut.
All right, so now we're back to mine. It looks like unicorn's next on the table. What do you guys think about eating a unicorn?
Oh boy.
We're
Every
not
story
allowed
with
to
a
eat
unicorn in it and they die ends
Yeah.
horribly for whoever fucking killed it.
Or eats it. Like, let's see, unicorn blood, Harry Potter, Voldemort.
Voldemort.
Yeah. So we're approaching this like ethics aside.
Like
Yeah.
horse meat and then like magical blood that keeps you immortal
Yeah.
at a weird cost. Like all those like kind of downsides.
Yeah, but like ethics aside, like you still eventually like get fucked no matter
Yeah,
what.
you kind of get
So this
hooked
is just
on it
like-
a little bit, and then it doesn't really work.
Yeah.
I feel like it
Or
would
like it's
tingle.
gonna curse you.
Okay.
I feel like as you
I
ate it,
thought
it would
it
tingle.
said something about this. Sacred horns. A unicorn's horn is the focus of its power. A shard of divine magic wrought in spiraling ivory. Wands of unicorn horn channel powerful magic. Blah 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 blah. Can use powder unicorn horn into potent potions and scroll ink, or use as a component in rituals. However, any creature that takes a role, no matter how small, in slaying a unicorn is likely to become the target of divine retribution.
Exactly.
So I
Yeah,
feel like
most
that's
How much,
gotta
how much
knock it
retribution
down
are
a
you gonna
little.
get for cooking that shit?
Yeah.
Can we talk about the fact though? Like, let's just be honest. If unicorns are real, how many people would use them as the horn as an aphrodisiac?
Oh,
I
probably
promise
a
you
ton.
Tons.
And then they get
Everyone
fucking
remember-
smited.
The
let's
goddesses
go back
are
to
all
rich
horse
people.
girls apparently, and they're gonna smite you. Yeah,
Mm.
Oh my god,
God.
yeah.
they just
But,
they don't
yeah.
The
like it.
gelatinous cube, like you get like the worst heartburn of your life, which is going to be a very short life
Right,
afterwards.
right.
But like with this, like you got God mad at you.
Yeah, but I'd
God
imagine
gets pissed off at
you
you.
would probably live longer, like for a longer amount of time after eating unicorn than you would a gelatinous cube, if we're being real.
You would, but you die a worse death.
I say in a
would
Final
argue.
Destination sort of way.
Yeah.
I'm kind of assuming though that like every single one of these is like a last resort because your rations ran out long ago.
I don't know, homie. Cave fisher
Yeah.
cakes. I'd have those just on a
Yeah,
Saturday
that one I
night.
guess is just
Yeah,
a
that one I'm
delicacy
hunting
at the
for.
Underdark Tavern.
Yeah.
You know, I do got to say though, how long? I feel like unicorn glue would be the best glue ever. That shit is never coming undone.
But you're
Yeah.
still getting cursed by a god.
Hey, Voldemort
Yeah, you got-
lasted 7 more years after when you
That's-
think about
I-
it.
Okay, it's
I may
true.
be
Yeah,
dead,
I
but
hope that
the-
fucking macaroni art was worth it.
It's never coming loose. I'll tell you that much. It is never coming loose.
That's a cursed item. Is like a unicorn glue macaroni art.
No, it's a wizard's wand. Just it's like a toilet paper tube with the macaroni
That's a
glued on the
spellcasting
outside as a
focus.
spellcasting
This
focus
is macaroni
because
art.
it's unicorn.
His
glue.
fucking paper towel roll macaroni art.
Oh,
I feel like there might be stuff worse than this. I mean,
there definitely
maybe it's higher
is.
D or lower C.
I'll be honest.
See, okay,
Yeah.
I'm thinking C because people eat horse. It's not probably great, but people eat horse, and there's the possibility of the blood and the horn for magical purposes. Like there's clearly perks here. There's also a massive downside.
Yeah.
so
Like, this better be the
I-
best fucking meat for like the payoff. And like people don't eat horse for a reason.
Actually, it's actually fairly. Apparently, I had a buddy that was Mongolian. He said horse jerky is actually pretty damn good, and it's fairly. The reason they don't get eaten more is because they're more useful outside that.
I did hear that
That's the
actually.
main
In
reason.
cultures
Okay.
that don't mind eating horse meat, but they don't do it a lot. It's not because the meat is bad. It's because why the hell would you butcher and eat a horse that costs you a ton of money and costs you time to train
True.
over a cow, which gives you more meat, better meat for cheaper and less time?
Yeah, it's
You know what?
similar
That's
to
probably a lot more likely.
yeah, allegedly similar to like deer, like a big buck kind of meat.
I mean, that
where
makes
it's a bit
sense.
gamier,
Like
but-
venison.
Does that
Yeah.
bump it up to B then, or is
Well,
it
so no,
still in
here-
C?
here's
No,
I'm
I still think
I'm
it's
still-
C. You're still getting smited.
True. Yeah.
See,
Like-
I'm good with C only because I feel like because it's a unicorn, I feel like the meat would be like amazing though, because it's a unicorn. It's not a horse. It's a unicorn,
Mhm.
and so it'd actually be like tingly. Like you eat it and it would tingle all the way down.
I mean,
and
it
out.
I feel
probably
like I'd be
heal
having an
you,
allergic
but-
reaction if my food made me tingle.
That's also
Not if it makes
I think
you
I
happy,
was
though.
allergic to unicorn.
It's like a Xanax and unicorn meat at the same time. And you just feel all
you
real
definitely
good
would
about
start
it.
hallucinating.
Can you imagine though being the god that comes down to wreak havoc on the guy who killed and ate one of your unicorns, just to find him dead, suffering from anaphylaxis because he was allergic to the
Yeah.
meat to begin with?
I was about to say he comes down, just sees the guy tripping balls.
That too, yeah,
There you go.
All right.
But,
I guess C it
I'm
is
cool with-
probably.
yeah.
I
Yeah,
think,
'cause
we're
it
putting the
should be a
unicorn in
D.
C.
Yeah, none of us would eat it, so it's a D. But because of the possibilities, I feel like C works.
Yeah.
I feel like
Yeah.
I'm
that-
good with C. I'm good with C. All right,
I think a C tier is appropriate.
next.
Okay. Next is a Remoraz.
Yeah, let me pull this one up. in case
I
anyone
have
needs a
no
reference.
idea what the hell that is.
Oh, you are.
Okay, I do because I did. I only know because I did a D&D roundtable, and Remoraz
Uh-huh.
was one of the monsters we had, and so I did a bunch of research for it. This is actually a really interesting one because it's
It
basically an
looks
ice worm.
sick.
It's an ice
Mhm.
worm that spits fire.
And it's huge. Like the amount of meat you'd get off that thing. Of course, how much of it is
Oh,
useful
yeah.
meat? Because you got the wings are going to be useless.
Yeah,
It's
that's
got a
just
ton of
memory.
legs like a centipede.
Yeah, in fantasy though, a giant worm eating that is kind of a staple. I feel like for
That's
like a
true.
I
true
could
survival.
totally see this being something edible. I could see
Oh,
this
yeah.
being like killed for meat.
There's
you'd have to
definitely
get
meat
through the
on
like
there.
the. Yeah, you'd have to dig in pretty deep to get it, but it's probably
Yeah.
decent.
See, I disagree with you only because you think about it. Like let's look at it like a chicken. What are the two pieces people fight over? The wings, the drumsticks. What did you just say? You had a bunch of legs, drumsticks,
Right.
and two giant ass.
Yeah, but
wings.
those are
Yeah,
like
but like this is
dragon
closer to a
wings.
crab. Yeah, this is
Yeah.
closer to a crab though. And
What's
like
people's
people are
favorite part of
eating
the crab?
legs in the crab.
Yeah,
There you go.
if the
And
legs
he's
are
got a bunch
good,
of those
if the legs
legs.
are good, then yeah, that's,
Exactly.
you got a lot
So
of good
that
stuff
bumps
there.
it.
I stand by the fact that the wings are going to be like largely useless. I mean, look at them; they're
Oh,
thin.
yeah. The wings
Yeah.
themselves. Yeah. But there's going to be a joint in there that's going to be fucking delicious.
True. Yeah, that back seam where the wings hit the
Yeah.
loin muscle
That-
going down that dude, that'd be the money muscle.
Ooh, that would be pretty thick.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, the basically the equivalent of the trap right there.
Yeah.
That like that, and then again you got all the legs, which like you just said, that's what people want is the legs.
Although
think
I
this
will
would be
say
delicious.
that this, I don't see a fly speed on this, so it's
It
not
doesn't
using
fly.
those wings to fly. That's like a display. So
They-
that muscle
It's
is
under
probably
ice.
Not
It
super
goes through
It's
the ice.
used. On the contrary, it has a burrow speed. That's what those wings are for. Burrowing through the
Oh, they're
snow.
not burrowing with the no. It's burrowing with its face. Those things are way too skinny to be used
But
for
it's
burrowing.
in the Arctic. It's burrowing through snow.
It's burrowing with its fire breath.
And it
Okay, that
swims
could
as
be.
well.
That could be.
Yeah, there's no way
One
it's
thing
using
I
those
want to
wings. It
point
would
out for this
shatter.
too, it does lay
Yeah.
eggs, which is a bonus.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay.
And it's a Arctic predator. It says it preys on elk, polar bears, and other creatures sharing their territory, which means it's eating a lot more friendly, like meat conversion friendly food as opposed to bugs and shit.
Yeah. I will say though, the bears, they got the parasites.
Mhm.
Why would we bring that up? You know what dragons have? I bet dragons taste gross too. Shoot.
Oh, absolutely. They might even be on the list. Who knows?
Who knows?
Yeah,
See,
the eggs
I-
apparently
I
are
think this
sought
is-
after. Frost giant hunters scour the icy wastes for the nests and eggs.
Bro, you can make a whole Remoraz omelet just with the Remoraz.
I could see this being pretty tasty.
I could see this being
maybe
pretty
like
tasty.
like a minty crab.
Minty
Tastes like
crab.
ice. Like
Well, and
five
heres-
gum.
This is
And
how it
here's-
Does that
feels
put
to
it
chew
in an
five
five
egg,
gum.
or where does that put it?
Yeah.
See, I think that this keeps because people would I think because it burrows, people would be afraid of it being too like the meat being too tough. But it also breathes fire, like a magma fire. So I feel like that would help keep everything kind of more loose.
Mhm.
I think this would be delicious. I'm talking.
It could
like
also be
A,
really,
potentially
really
S.
oily because of the fire. Because like To breathe fire,
I
you
could
need
see
like
that.
something to ignite, and like I don't know. I feel like it could be like a natural oil it secretes or something that could make it really like greasy.
That's fair, but what if you just render the meat? It takes a little longer, but if you just render that meat, let it kind of get that oily out of it, then you have some oil to cook the damn thing
I
in.
can see it.
So it's even more useful now.
Like a really oily, minty crab.
Yeah.
There we go.
And
But I know you
huge,
guys
literally
mentioned
huge
parasites.
size.
I know you guys mentioned parasites, but you have to remember it's probably cooking whatever it's eating too, just to take it
Yeah.
out.
Oh, you're right.
So there's a chance
You're
that
right.
parasites died off too.
And at worst, you let whatever meat might have parasites sit in a little bit of gelatinous cube vinegar, and it probably kills the parasites.
Yeah, and whatever
I
meat was
feel
in it, it's just gone.
I feel like this thing. I remember reading at some point there, like this thing actually has like a really high. Like going to Lute's point, I feel like it had like a really hot internal temperature.
It
I'm see if I can find it real quick.
body pulsing with internal
I'm
fire.
down to give it the A personally.
I'm good. I'm even good with the S, but I can be talked down to the A because I get the hesitation.
I think A,
from that side
yeah,
of
because we just don't know enough about it. Like the cave fisher, we know immediately. It's like crab. The blood is alcoholic. It's very clearly edible.
It explicitly says this thing is delicious in the bio.
Yeah, exactly.
And like you can't get more S tier than the thing the monster manual calls delicious.
Yeah, this is just probably delicious.
Probably.
So we'll
delicious.
put it
Which
in
is
A.
This
It's
has
like-
the potential to be delicious.
Yeah.
The cave fisher is confirmed delicious.
Creepy, but delicious.
Oh, fucking horrifying.
To be
Yeah,
fair,
just
we're in
don't
a
tell anyone
fantasy
what it
world.
looks like before they eat it, basically.
Yeah.
It's one of those.
All right.
I got you.
right,
Barry,
A
you're up
tier.
next.
Okay. Oh shoot, this is perfect for me to come up with too. So this is one I had never heard of actually before this. I got the flail snail.
What the
Ooh.
fuck is that?
Yeah, pull this shit up because
JB,
this is
pull
one
that
I got this shit and I'm
I mean,
like,
I
the
can
second
make
saw
some
your cave fisher-
assumptions from the name.
Yeah, snail's definitely a plus, probably, mattering on what region you're from.
Yeah.
So this is like a like a 10
Oh wow.
snail with little like actual flails for instead of
Yeah.
eye stalks. That
It's got
they can
flails on
beat
its
the
face.
shit.
Yeah, you don't have to eat
Like
the
it'll
eyes,
beat the shit out of
though.
a car. It can tear down a building with its. It's not eyes. Look at if you actually look at it, they're not actual eyes. They're just straight up hard flail. I don't know how it sees because on the front
Oh,
of its
it's a
face, you think that those are little
large-sized
eye
creature.
stalks. It's
Yeah,
huge.
it's
No, that's what I'm
huge.
saying. It's like that shell's like 10 foot tall.
Damn.
And so it uses those hard like flails to just beat the hell out of stuff. Like I said, it could tear down a building with the
I appreciate the
flails, and then
speed
it's
being
got the
10
little.
feet.
Yes. Yes.
I really appreciate that.
Yeah, when it gets there, though, it's
Oh, it'll fuck you up when it finds you.
See, I feel like the whole would you take a deal of immortality, but there's a snail constantly hunting you down? I feel like more people would say no if it was this motherfucker.
This is the snail.
Yeah.
It
I mean,
just
I
busts
could
through
believe
your
that
wall
one
at
would
like
take
2
me
in the
down when he
morning.
gets there. Yeah.
Yeah, I believe it when this thing touches me, I will die.
Yeah, it's not
because of a curse, but because it's gonna fucking kill me.
Exactly.
Yeah. But yeah, this is tough when he gave it to me as the recipe. So I'll let y'all give me like what you think of it first, and then I'll give my what I did.
I mean,
I don't have the cool graphic for it. yet.
as a guy who has eaten escargot before, it's definitely like a food. It's possible to eat this. You're not going to be eating it like standard escargot, but you could totally
Mhm.
cut that shit up into flail snail steaks or whatever.
Yeah, there's a
Would
lot
that be
there.
good though? Would you eat like a steak-sized piece of escargot and enjoy it the whole time?
See, and it's not like the problem with not to get too much into my thing, but the problem with it straight up comparing it to escargot is like those snails don't do much. This thing has the muscle capacity to freaking destroy
A
hard
building,
rock with these things.
Right.
So it's gonna be a lot more tougher and all that stuff as opposed to pure escargot. I'm gonna step back because again I have my whole
Yeah, yeah,
write up
yeah.
for this thing, but I just wanted to say that one part.
I think it's definitely edible. As like just base, it wouldn't be what I'd go for, but it also wouldn't surprise me if, again, we keep going to the Underdark here. I don't know if this thing's even an Underdark creature, but regardless, like if you go to
It feels right.
a pop-up tavern or whatever in the Underdark and they have flail snail skewers or whatever, I wouldn't be surprised at that. So my instinct is probably to give it B, kind of like the flump of, I don't know exactly how it would turn out, but I know you could eat it. And
yeah, and you can cut around a lot of stuff too. Like you don't have, I don't imagine the eyes are that good. You know, maybe it's a delicacy in that tavern you're talking about, but there's definitely a lot of meat and like some traditional ways to prepare it. Hopefully that will make it softer.
Right.
Yeah. And again, no eyes, no actual
eyes.
Keep that in mind.
It would probably pair beautifully with like a cab sav.
I would need some convincing. Like it could taste good. It could. I'm not saying it couldn't, but I think I would need some convincing to actually try it.
If I give you,
put it
by the
in
way,
a C in that kind of logic, kind of what you based off what you're saying.
I said don't rate it yet. I still got my by the way, look, I sent you a picture for a size comparison.
For a size comparison, okay.
Y'all look in that
Jesus Christ. That's what I'm saying. You'll have to find this, put it on screen for the size comparison, but
that is awesome.
Yeah, it's when I'm saying it's large, like it's not like just large, like it's
big.
It's an elephant. Big. It's probably bigger than like a it's probably like bull elephant, maybe a little bit larger.
No, that is size. For sure bigger than a bull elephant.
Now, Drake, you said that it would take some convincing to get you to eat this, but if I came up to you and handed you a kebab and in the Underdark and it just had whatever meat on it, would you go for it or not?
To be fair, you could do it with anything though.
I don't know. I don't really trust the Underdark as a whole because like those guys lick poison for fun.
Wow.
Wow.
I know it's a little insensitive. You know what? Right, everyone was thinking it.
Goblin
on the podcast.
Everyone was thinking it. I'm just saying it. I'm just saying the quiet part out loud.
Open applications for new podcast host. Drake's getting canceled by the drow.
I said we get canceled episode 2. Thanks, Drake.
Yep.
You've been promoted to viewer, Drake.
Yeah.
Damn. All right, we're heading over to Rumble, guys.
Oh
no. Cool. Okay, so I have my little write up on this. Now, to I guess so behind the scenes, I was, and this is how I am apparently. I feel like we had talked about it in our little meeting thing about us doing this in a Master Chef style, but I think I may have been the only one to do it that way. So, this is put on your Master Chef hat and feel that
there
way.
is an apron up for grabs here.
Actually, perfect. I'm waiting for my apron.
All right.
Hi, chefs. Today I prepared for your pleasure a flail snail. Now, when I first got this, I wasn't sure what to do with it. I thought, I'm not French. I don't do snails. Then I thought I should get in the headspace of a French chef. So I went down some dark alleys looking for rats to put under my hat and let them teach me how to cook.
God.
Once I had tried that for the 7th time and had lost a considerable amount of blood and scalp from being attacked, I decided to go back to basics and try cooking this thing. Once I started actually working on it, I realized my problem wasn't that I had no idea how to cook a flail snail, but that I had too many. So, chefs, for my dish, I've prepared a culinary journey with flail snail prepared 3 ways. See, I'm getting it.
Oh, okay.
First, to start off, I used the eye stalks to create flail snail stalk fritters. Now, I hear you asking, Bear, how did you do that? They're tough and used for bashing. Well, I tell you, imaginary food critique. I started with a sous vide. Then I let them roast for a couple hours on low. Then finished them off with a quick fry in the snail's own mucus. I used that same mucus, set aside earlier, that I mixed with a puree of tomatoes and seasonings from all across the realms for a dip.
I'm gonna be real. The mucus just
was
made me.
Yeah, I was waiting on that one. But you know what? Trust the process.
Okay, trust the process.
Here's the thing.
It's French. It's supposed to be gross.
And then my thought is that like it you could use it like with the tomato puree. You're using it as like a gelatin. Like think about what gelatin is, right? Come on. Let's be real here.
The point is we don't think about what gelatin is. So
so you're already using it as a gelatin there, and then I used it.
Unicorn
I
hooves.
heated it up, and it turned into basically like an oil to fry it. So it's not the last time I say mucus in this. So just be prepared.
Okay. Thanks for the trigger warning.
Oh God! I just imagine like a fryer filled with like snot looking ass fucking fluid.
Well, no, genuinely, I guarantee when you like rendered it down, it would just look like oil. It would probably.
I'm gonna need some convincing, man.
Because okay, like I said, just look up if you ever want to never eat Jello again. Look up exactly what gelatin is. I got you. And plus, again, think about it in this way: it's basically like rendering down the fat, which is what a lot of people use in cooking things down too. So, for the main, I did a nice flail snail steak. I hear you ask now, what snail has steak? You have to remember that those flails are used to destroy buildings. That muscle has to come from somewhere. However, much like the stocks, they are tough, so I let it marinate in a secret Bear Bard special marinade for 3 days. One of those nights needs to be under a blood moon, and that marinade needs to be blessed by a shaman who is at least 3rd generation. However, the older the shaman's lineage, the better the results. You get that on a grill over chrome dragon fire and butter. I aimed for a nice medium well, which to some is too much, but as I didn't know what my snail consumed for the last 30 days, and while they're immune to poison, I am not.
He's doing the callback. He's bringing all of our concerns in.
Okay.
And this I actually wrote this in too, so because they are immune to poison, so they don't like it's ineffective against them. So I'm like, he's immune to it, but
that makes sense. Okay, doing your homework.
Finally, with the rest of the flail snail, I created a nice side stew. I again used the mucus to create the base of my broth, along with pieces from the shell to mimic a bone broth. I stewed different parts of the flail snail along with a myriad of veggies, potatoes, and even some violet fungus chunks, and let that stew for 8 hours before introducing some melted snow from Icewind Dale for complexity. I served the stew in the snail's shell. Now, I clearly didn't make an owlbear-sized bowl of stew, so I cut the tip off the shell and used that as a small bowl. As you can see, chefs, I tried to take and really show off what you could do and the culinary journey you can have with the flail snail. Now, I hope this goes without saying, but I utilized seasonings from multiple lands and even plains on every step of the journey.
All right, well, while we did have our reservations, you at least made a very compelling presentation out of that.
You did, very much so.
I don't know that it being all the snail stuff bumps it to S, but you at least have
give it the
options.
B just because I can't get over the fryer filled with mucus. I can't.
Yeah, he kept saying mucus and went down a tier each time.
Yeah, I'm a B.
But I gotta be honest.
I try to utilize as much of the animal as possible.
That's fair.
I'll be honest. When he first showed it to me, I'm just like, damn. Because I in real life, snails couldn't do it. But I try to get this in a place where and I'll tell you what, that shaman blessing, it goes a long way.
Oh,
so
I believe it.
I
believe it. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So
there's a lot of blessings going on in mine. Don't worry.
So I like it. I think it would, for me, I would have probably put it in C, and then with the culinary expertise, probably bump it up to a B. What do we think? Does he get his apron?
Yeah.
I think B is pretty fair.
Let's give him an apron.
Let's give him an apron.
Hell yeah.
Dope.
This is where Peyton photoshops a bear in an apron.
Yeah, MasterChef apron on just a pissed off bear.
It just stays in the corner. It just stays in the little corner for the rest of the episode.
I'll take it.
All right. Up next, we have a mean lock. Who here knows what a mean lock is?
Mean lock.
I'm pulling it up for you. As opposed to a nice lock. I am experienced with mean locks.
Oh, it's another crustacean.
It's another bug crustacean looking thing. They're fey, invoke terror, telepathic torment. Nothing mentioned here that I'm seeing about parts or quality of the food.
Yeah.
They're a small fey. I mean, what?
Oh, they're small?
They're small.
I thought
and they're
this was
fey.
huge.
No, because it's got its foot on a human skull there in the picture.
Oh, I guess that is the scale
it's
then,
like,
yeah.
So
it's like goblin size.
What I mean, fey doesn't really tell you
much
much
about
about the
like crab boil you'd ever have.
Oh yeah, being fey doesn't tell you what like type of meat you'd be looking at, right? Like fey can be a lot of different things. I'd imagine this thing. It looks like it's crustacean like with the claws and legs, but you look at the back and the arms, and that's muscle.
It's got to be muscle.
No,
especially
like it does no
fey.
exoskeleton.
Except the claws. The claws are definitely exoskeleton.
Yeah, that's like bone though.
That's true. That could be
hardened or calcified. Like
that could be bone or something.
And now that I'm like, that's hair. This is a mammalian crab, guys.
It's hairy. Yeah.
This thing lactates. That bugs me.
Yeah, it's plummeting pretty quickly.
Why did you put it that way?
That's what mammals do.
Well, yeah.
That's where the term mammal comes from. I don't like my idea of a fucking lobster that lactates. Fucking D tier.
The moment you said that, it plummeted.
I don't know that there's much that really could say. I mean, obviously, there's muscle, there's meat, there's food. It doesn't deal poison damage, so we don't need to worry about that. And it's fey, so I'd imagine that there's like some.
It'd be like boiling like a capuchin monkey.
Yeah,
that's what it would be. That's deeply upsetting to
me.
We
put the Garrulon in C tier for being monkey-esque, but looking at this thing, I think this is D. I think this is worse than the Garrulon.
Yeah, that's worse for sure.
It's not gonna kill you like the cube, but I think it's like below the Garrulon.
Yeah.
Since Jake brought it up, I feel like somewhere someone sells mean luck milk as like a thing.
All right, Luke, you're up next.
Thanks, I hate it.
Thanks, I hate it.
The next one I feel like is a little bit safer at least.
Oh,
it's,
yeah.
Just a rock. Yeah, if you want to pull up a
I feel
picture
like that's
of
the
that.
easiest one. That's got to be the
bird.
easiest one ever.
It's a gargantuan bird. So the size is
gargantuan. Give that to Buffalo, New York.
You might get smited by like some type of god, maybe. I don't know if it's like a unicorn
no,
or it's like
it's not.
They're the sacred bird of something.
It's just a giant bird. You got wings, you got drums, you got breast. Bro, this is the easiest one we've done so far. You just
I don't know.
give this to the state of Georgia, and you will have just fried everything.
Now the wings and the legs and such less so I mean they're massive, but you wouldn't have like a lot of them because again it's only one bird. But I mean a rock breast would feed a village, dude.
It would for sure.
And I feel like the argument here is it an S or is it an A? I guess what would dissuade us from picking the highest option?
I think
because it's a bird of prey kind of brings it down a bit.
Yeah, it's going to be tougher.
Chickens used to be T-Rexes. All I'm saying. That was
I don't trigger me like that.
But
I will start my own podcast off of that sentence alone.
Here is a twist in it. This is a Photoshop version of what somebody did. It is a rock lobster, and so you got wings and claws.
All right, so
I hate it.
In the universe where that exists, it's a different ranking.
No, we'll go back to. I would argue A, but I'm willing to step down. But at the same time, like I get what you're saying too. The Raptors.
Controversial. I don't think it is. It's
I mean,
A tier. I think
you're thinking
B
most. Even
look what we have in B tier. We've got flump and flail snail, and we're talking a giant bird. That's definitely more edible.
It's those. A bird. It is more edible. I'm saying top of B, but this is like a bird of prey, and those are like notoriously like awful for eating.
But it's a huge.
So you get a lot of bad meat, though.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. I just don't know if it gets much better than this. You know,
yeah, I mean, it
gets pretty good. It's good.
It's
but
close
like compared to what else we have.
It's comparable to what we have in real life, so we know that it's at least edible and decent. There are ways to prepare it to tender up the meat a little bit, even if you like shred the entire rock breast and put it in stew. Right, that at least is going to be edible and. You know that's going to be high in protein and probably a pretty healthy meat because it is a bird of prey. It's always active. Because of that, I think
it's like almost entirely carnivorous, though.
Well, yeah,
but those things it eats that are carnivorous aren't always carnivorous. Does that help at all? Maybe,
no.
Your thoughts. So
we were knocking points on the Garrulon for possibly being carnivorous. You know.
Yeah, but it was also like human-like, so they had that going against it. Let me ask you this.
Yeah,
one.
for sure.
Would you rather eat a rock or flail snail?
I would rather eat the rock. I would put it at the top of B, personally. I could take bottom of A. If you guys really think it could be, I could take bottom.
Where are we at vote?
Because I'm going S.
I want to say bottom of A.
This is. I feel like out of our 2 episodes, this is our most contentious one, which is crazy.
And we're talking about eating a bird.
Sure.
We're talking about eating a bird.
This is episode 2, and we're splitting the band over how tasty a rock is.
An imaginary bird. Yeah, I'm okay. I'm okay if you want to call it a low A, because I definitely feel like because I want to go S tier automatically, but I can be talked down to an A. I don't know if I could accept a B. I don't know if I can do that in my heart of hearts.
We can compromise and say bottom of A, we think, or you guys can also just overrule me.
Yeah, I think bottom of
'Cause
A is where I would put
nerd.
it,
I'm
even
good
before the compromise.
Yeah, I'm good with the A. I'm good with A.
Okay.
I'm good with that.
Just because it's
Bottom
so
of A.
we can associate it so easily to what we already know, and we know it's going to be edible. So.
Exactly. And like that's why
Which
I'm
is-
wanting to rank it low, because I can associate with what I know about birds of prey, because like not being good for eating. Up next, we have the Bahir.
Oh boy.
I'd have to see a picture of that
That's-
to really figure out.
I just pulled up.
I know
picture,
this
'cause
one.
I didn't know what
I
this one
don't think it's
was.
going to be that tasty.
No.
Actually,
Okay,
maybe.
it is what
No,
it's like
I-
a salamander. I don't know what's the closest thing to this.
Like a worm, like a dragon worm.
Reptilian
I can see it being
predator.
kinda
what
like a
I'm-
gator.
what I'm reading it as.
I could see it being kind of gator-esque.
That's
gator
might
nuggets. They
that
make
might not
Bahir
be the
nuggets.
worst.
Yeah.
You know, they say Bahir. They say the gator tastes like chicken.
A gator is
So-
good. I've had it before.
I technically have, but I really remember it.
Okay, so
Well,
that's
it's
not
got
bad.
electric
Fairly
power,
chicken-like.
so it could be like an electric eel, kind of like in like its consistency. So maybe it's more like a fish.
No, I mean, if you look at the legs, look at the mouth. This is definitely and it's the tail. It's definitely more
it's a
gator-like.
reptile.
It's a reptile.
It's
Yeah,
definitely
that's-
a reptile. Yeah.
yeah, that's
Which
that's,
means it's going to take some
Yeah, I
preparation.
can see
it's
it
gonna be
being like
kind of
crocodile or
Now
or
it is not
alligator-esque.
aquatic, but
No, it is.
No,
not.
it's
I
not,
think
yeah.
still similar
It's in
enough. I mean,
caves.
I think it'd be fairly gator-like. There's a lot of unknown here, but there's a lot of meat there too. So
There it
Yeah,
is.
but then going back to it's a carnivore. It is
Yeah.
a carnivore, so you're getting just kind of carnivorous diet. So I think it's going to be one of those ones. It's going to be easy enough to break down. It's going to be easy enough to get the meat off of it, but that meat is going to be a bit tough. It's going to be. I
gonna be
feel like it's one you
gamey.
could yield. Yeah, you're going to yield a lot of meat, but you're not going to be able to necessarily use all that meat.
where does that
make
kind
sense?
of
Mhm.
put it then? Are we leaning towards like a middle of the road? Is this like a B? Is this
I'd say a B.
I'm good
it's
with B.
edible,
I
but
feel
it's
good with a
not going to
B.
be fine dining.
yeah, it's better than the Girlon.
You're not excited about it. You're gonna eat it. This is Tuesday night meals. You're gonna
Yeah.
eat it, but you're not excited. about it.
Leftovers from what you made a
Exactly.
week ago. You just need the food.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's it's that staple you keep making. You're not crazy about it, but it's easy to make. You're
Mhm.
like, you know,
it's not
kids
that
are
bad
happy
for
with
you.
it.
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay. B tier.
Me too.
a little less contentious? Yeah, B
Yeah.
tier.
I said
Yeah,
a lot
there we
less
go.
contentious with that one
Nice.
right there.
Yeah, I guess we just don't have strong enough feelings to fight to the death over this one.
Yeah,
we
exactly.
can we can keep our
We're like,
friendship
yeah,
together. So
Electric gator.
rapping
All right.
like an electric gator.
Bear, you're up next.
Okay, well I will introduce Luke's
yes.
next one, which is the
Oh.
Grick, which is a little
Yep.
horrifying, if I'm going to be honest.
You know, it
has
was
a
scary at first, but
Oh, it's an octopus worm.
yeah, you see octopus like that. That's actually
Oh,
kind of a
for sure.
bonus, maybe.
Yeah.
Oh, that's calamari.
Yeah, like what I went with, well, one for the pun, and two because obviously, fried like calamari or something would be kind of good. I was going to do like a gricken tempura and rice, just for the sake of the pun. But like I was almost thinking like a seafood tempura like is delicious. You have shrimp tempura, you got different
Yeah.
ones. You have like calamari.
I'm down with that.
So frying its tentacles, if nothing else, is gonna be good. The worm meat, I don't know how much there is to that, so maybe it's
Yeah.
something
I mean,
where you only
people-
really eat the
it's
tentacles.
people
but
eat worms, not commonly.
yeah, it's not
but here's the, thing:
best.
like some of these pictures shows it more scaly. So would it be closer to a snake with the tentacles though? Because that
I don't
that
know.
meat is more snake.
I see the
'cause
beak and tentacles are very octopus, very cephalopod.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. So it's like, we're dealing with fantasy creatures. So is it like
Yeah.
cephalopod on the front, snake on the back, or is it more like worm? Because again,
does
it's
say
hard to tell because I'm
worm.
looking at different pictures.
Worm-like predator in the description.
yeah,
Yeah, but is it like WY?
No, it's W-O-R.
Technically, you could
Yeah.
say a snake is a worm-like
Oh.
predator.
That
you
is
know?
fair, though. That is fair.
Like, what does it mean by
Yeah.
worm-like? It means like worm.
'Cause a lot of people-
Yeah.
Yeah, because a lot of people eat snake. Now again, I haven't
Yeah.
done it, but a lot of people do eat snake, and it's but so then you might get like a myriad of different types of meat. It might be kind of a nice thing for you. Now, to me, the beak, I can't do it. that beak makes it so like for me it's something like a no fly zone because like to me that just reads Tremors. If y'all have ever seen the 1992
have I seen Tremors?
Bacon classic.
Zill's like the number one Tremors fanboy.
Buddy, I own all of the shitty sequels, and
I have not seen. I saw that the original Kevin Bacon classic, but I've never seen.
You are not missing
I keep meaning
out
to watch
on
it.
much. The original
That's
is
fair.
definitely better, but I don't know what it was, but when I was a kid, I was such a Tremors fan. Like I knew all the random facts, like when the when the graboid fell off the cliff and it like explodes at the bottom. That was all pumpkin guts that they used for the interior. I know way too much about this fucking B movie. Okay.
See, I know nothing about it, but I loved it. As
You
a kid.
actually are the number one.
I
Tremors
really
fan.
am the number one Tremors fan.
I was gonna say I'll give that one, but no. But point aside, I feel like I said my first initial thought seemed because I see the beak and my initial thoughts no, but I think y'all might be turning me around. I'd be interested to see what
what you got,
Luke's
Luke? What you got?
written
Yeah,
up
I
for it.
already have high hopes for it.
Yeah, I was gonna go with that. Like I said, the gherkin, tempura, and rice. So the ingredients you need for this, obviously, is you take the grick, you clean it, detangle it. You get 2 cups of like stone ground rice, and as we know, like long forgotten bags of rice are commonplace in every dwarven ruins dungeon, all that stuff, right? So just you're already in a cave.
For sure.
You look into a barrel, you get some rice from it. I was thinking pairing it with like a wyvern egg white, you know. Ideally, you kill the wyvern so they don't hunt you down later when you're preparing this
Right.
in your dungeon. A cup of enriched flour, can't go wrong with that. Maybe one that's enchanted to be forever fresh from a dryad elven, one of those tree huggers that makes that stuff.
Yeah, those fucking guys.
Yeah, those nerds. A cup of sparkling spring water. Ideally, blessed and purified from a cleric instead of all that nasty like water that's just in the dungeon with you. A pinch of salt from an elemental plane of water. Some crushed fire blossom petals if you like spice. And then some oil from whatever magical glowing olives, or random fat. We'll call them olive. Yeah. Whatever's laying around that seems like it's giving off oil. You're frying it anyways. It's probably sterile. Don't look into it too much.
I love it.
You mean like the
Yeah.
mucus?
So when it comes to
Anything
the actual
but
like
mucus,
instructions, yeah, anything but mucus. Which, as long as you don't see the snail, maybe you can lie to yourself and tell you it's not mucus. So what I would do personally, I would prepare the rice. You rinse it in cool well water until clear. You boil it in a cauldron. That's when you add some of that salt and cover it and keep it warm for the hearth when you're making campfire. Then you have to craft the tempura batter. So you can use something like a treants, like heart, a little heartwood, keep it warm. Combine the flour and salt. You stir in that sparkling spring water, the wyvern egg whites, and then you batter it light and slightly bubbly. And then if you overmix it, with the sparkling water and stuff, you might make a bit of a mess. You might alert whatever local predators are around, so don't make too much of a mess. But now you can prepare the grick. You slice the tender meat into strips. Make sure if it's, I imagine this thing's kind of slimy, right? It might have a slimy gland or two, so just make sure that stuff's out of the way. And then you dust it lightly in the flour.
No mucus.
Yeah, no mucus here. You throw it in an iron pot. If a dwarf, like a forge cleric dwarf or something, blessed it, that's a plus. Can't go wrong with another blessing. Then you boil it in whatever that oil you found is until it, starts to shine at like 375. You dip the strips in the batter. You fry it for like 2 to 3 minutes, and then you put it on that plate of rice. You're gonna need like a surface that's pretty tough too. I mean, it's like, I don't know if you have like a smooth obsidian or some kind of like sturdy like stone bowl.
There's
and then
rocks
when
in
you
the cave.
assemble, yeah, there's maybe like just a good old smooth rock. You assemble the dish and then you serve it immediately, and you eat it immediately because that aroma is gonna attract more predators for sure. There's no way they're gonna ignore that tentacle like battered like that. There's no way they're gonna ignore that.
That. Damn. Oh, I'm sold. That sounds tasty as hell.
Yeah. Not only do we know how to prep it in the dungeon right after killing it, not only are we also killing 4 other creatures in order to prep this. But
yeah, those are just the other encounters in the dungeon.
Yeah. No, I think there's possibility here. It's still potentially worm.
I think
meats,
Cave
but-
Fisher has some competition.
Yeah, I agree. I think this is definitely like because of the tentacles and the glorious tempura batter definitely helps.
So I would like to say that one thing too. I think my favorite part of his breakdown was when he got to the blessings. He's like, yeah, and another few blessings in there didn't hurt anybody. It has such the energy of a college kid who's never used seasoning before, getting to his mom's spice cabinet and just like, we'll throw some of this in there and that one and another season that can't be bad too. So he's just like hitting up blessings from like all the different gods. He's just like,
you're just hoping.
I don't know, throw another one in there.
That is very
little
adventuring
hallelujahs,
party.
couple praise Marys.
My favorite part was like the ingredients. It was like, oh, you need like holy water blessed by a cleric. You need these very specific things, and then eventually it became like, oh, and then we just got some flying olives.
yeah, just some random whatever oil, just something fatty that you can burn. Really,
we got some flying olives. Everyone's got some of those.
Hey, you can use instead of fatty bits, mucus. I'm just throwing it out there. Just
as long
throwing
as
it
you don't
out
call
there.
it mucus, we have to like come up with another like marketing friendly term that we can sell it at the grocery store with.
Gelatinous membrane.
Gelatinous. That doesn't sound good either. I don't want to eat a membrane. I think we're gonna put. I would put it right below crab fisher.
Yeah,
only because crab fisher explicitly says it tastes good.
You can't beat something that pairs it with its own drink.
Right.
I think I said that before, but it's like, it's the full package. It's like a full buffet.
So are we saying high A or low S is what we're saying?
I think low S.
Yeah, I was kind of leaning towards low S. I was assuming, I didn't know if everyone else's recipes were gonna like really upsell their stuff, but like kind of like the cave fisher, it's like I kind of wasn't sure, and then the recipe sold me on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would say you turn everything into jerky and call it a day. That's your survival food as opposed to
for sure.
Yeah, yum food.
All right.
Yeah, low S.
Cool. Low S.
Up
Let's do
next, we have. Oh God, I have trauma
I
from
hate
these
this.
motherfuckers. Nothics.
I hate it.
Nothing.
A Nothic.
It's bad. It's chupacabra.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
So on the note of
That thing is
humanoids,
so sick.
on the note of humanoids, a Nothic. I'm trying to see if it has the details here. Yeah. Cursed lore seekers transformed by secrets never meant to be known. In older,
so this used to be a person.
this used to be a person. In older, like writings of them, Nothics were literally wizards whose magic went too far in their search for knowledge.
Oh, it's so cool looking though.
Yeah.
I say it's like basically this just feels like another like Appalachia
Yeah.
monster situation where like it was a or like a Midwestern like legend where it's just like, hey, yeah, that was a person and then they screwed up and now they're a horrible freak. And they're probably watching you at night, so if you hear voices, you didn't hear voices.
They seek
Yeah,
revelations amid the rubble of
I'm not
forgotten
eating this.
ruins, use their supernatural sight to pierce magical deceptions, rot the flesh of enemies, and steal secrets. And here's the thing that's most
Yeah.
scary to me about potentially eating a Nothic, killing and eating a Nothic. Some of them seek to end the curse, but many are unaware. Basically, some of them are still a sane wizard
Sentient.
brain inside that creature. Still a person looking for a cure.
Can I just say I'm not gonna eat it?
Yeah.
Can I just say that?
There's-
I'm
There's all the
I'm
moral
just not gonna eat it.
ramifications combined with the fact that like this thing will definitely either rot you alive or
Mhm.
like will curse you some way.
Yeah, you're worse off
And,
having
like,
ate it.
And going back to like the meat, like it's very primate in its like
I mean, it's
anatomy.
human. Like if you look at it, yeah, it's creepy.
yeah.
But that is a rib cage. That is these appendages have grown, but this is a humanoid construction to a body here.
Yeah, anything
I
we
don't
said
even
about
think
the
you'd
mean
get,
lock
like-
is like doubly so for this too, just anatomy wise.
Yeah.
Anything we didn't like about that mean lock?
I don't know. I think the mammalian crab was a bit more upsetting to me, but like
Are we good with D though? Are we
Yeah.
solid in I'm
I
not
think-
eating that?
I'm not
Yeah.
eating that. No.
Is
I might even make its own category of I'm
Yeah.
not eating that. Like at least we tried with the other one, but like, I'm
is a
not
man.
great.
I'm not eating that.
On
That is
a
a
on
conscious
a
man.
moral
Ass dude.
standpoint, I'd put it below Meanlock, but for like appetizing, I'd put it.
I would put it above
Meanlock,
Meanlock for appetizing, but morality wise, look,
Morality wise,
if I'm gonna kill something to eat it, I don't overly want there being a chance of it looking at me and saying, see, you know, like just
Yeah, I
Por
see.
qué?
so. Yeah, D, definitely D.
Yeah, definitely D. I mean,
jeez.
I feel bad enough when there's like certain like dishes where you're eating something that's still partially alive, and the
Mhm.
fact that they're still conscious, yeah, that's
Oh, yeah, it's like-
devastating.
There's eating something while it's alive and eating something while it's sentient.
Well, I wouldn't necessarily think you're eating it while it's alive and sentient, but still, you'd be killing it,
Yeah.
knowing that it could be a fully functional human inside there.
Like this thing lived, laughed, and loved, man. Like
Live, left, and
And
or.
or-
Yeah, no, that's D or just straight up. I'm
Yep.
not eating it category.
Yeah,
hell yeah.
without 100%.
Luke.
It looks
All
like
right.
Loot.
yeah. No, I'm next with the Eder cap. It looks like
Oh,
we're going
man.
with, which I'll have to see a picture to
Ooh,
remind me
boy.
what that looks
Peyton,
like
we're gonna have to
anatomy wise.
talk about your list making. Jesus Christ. So Eder caps,
What
they're
the
like
fuck?
a
hate
somewhat humanoid spider.
Oh, my two favorite things to
Yeah, I
eat.
They have
Yeah.
like bugs crawling all over them, and it's let me get to the actual description here. They lurk in forested depths. They spin webs. They have arachnid features and hunched bipedal frames. They have they're notorious for their venomous bites, and they can shoot webs out to entrap victims. They're typically hunting alongside giant spiders and such. They avoid fire, which quickly burns through their webs. And okay, so I guess the covered in bugs thing was either a different version or I remember it specifically from Baldur's Gate 3. But regardless, humanoid
It is
spider.
the bug.
Honestly, the bugs on them is the best part to eat. Everything else sounds
Yeah.
infinitely worse.
I don't know. I feel like it's only kind of shaped humanoid, but it just kind of like evolved the same humanoid body plan.
You're not wrong.
It's effectively a
Yeah, where the
spider
other
that
ones
just
were like
kind of looks different.
primates. This
Yeah,
one just
that
kind of like
is
it's a
true.
spider that evolved to look like a primate.
But is this enough to bump it up as C though?
No, this is like nightmare fuel. Although I do like this little again.
Well, so was the
fan-made,
cave fisher.
Uh,
The cave fisher was also nightmare.
That
fuel.
is true.
I could see this
yeah.
being like a C or maybe
okay.
like low
How are you
B.
preparing it? Sell this one to me, Drake. How would you prepare it to make it a C? This is
Okay.
what Jay, I need to hear this. I need to hear this pitch.
All right, so we could see like very clearly like this is an arthropod, yeah. This is a
Yes,
spider.
I'm
It
with you.
has an exoskeleton,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
It's not like the other guy. Fucking what was his name?
The mean lock.
We literally were just covering. The what?
Mean
The
lock.
Nothic or the Meanlock?
The mean lock. Yeah,
Meanlock.
this isn't like the mean lock where you could see like very clear skin, where it's like mammalian. This thing does not lactate.
Big selling point
Could've
A. Big
wanted
selling
to.
point A. Does
Big
not
selling point.
lactate.
This thing does not lactate. It is an arthropod, I think, or at least from the picture I'm seeing here. So it would behave very similar to like eating like a spider or like a crab or a lobster. Those are also arthropods. So it has the potential to do that crab boil. It has the potential to like be good with some lemon. Unlike the other thing,
Be
which is
good
just like
with some
boiling a
lemon.
monkey.
So
Exactly.
this is
could
a real
be
question
tasty.
actually. Because I know that like lobsters and stuff, those are basically just like ocean bugs.
Yes.
Now that being said, does their meat actually turn out the same? So like if you were to go like get a camel spider, like a spider big enough to actually cook, does their meat look like and handle like
It would
lobsters
be-
and stuff like that, or is it wildly different?
It would be the same logic as you guys being like, oh, the rock would taste good because the spider. No, sorry. The rock tastes good because chicken tastes good. You know? Like they're both still
Yes,
birds.
spiders
but
have
they're very
meat.
different birds.
Tarantula meat, for example, is described as having a white, slightly sweet and nutty flavor.
Yeah, no, people
that
eat
does help
tarantulas. I
his
know people
point.
fry those things.
Yeah. And this thing is not actually humanoid. This is not a primate.
I could go
The one
to
thing
I
C
will
tier,
say-
but I don't think I could go any higher than C tier.
Yeah,
Oh,
the one thing I will
absolutely
say is
I'll-
this is
I'll
a
give it
case
to you.
where,
I'll give it to you.
the non-human like skin does take it out of at least the bottom two, and then the cube we just determined was actively detrimental. That's why it's in D. So maybe C is not.
I think
it
this
would be the
also,
lowest of C's.
I'd argue a C for this guy. Okay. Okay. Next. Who's reading the next one?
You are.
I am.
You
Okay,
are.
cool. Okay, up next,
Oh.
we got Pseudo Dragon.
This one hurts me. This one hurts me emotionally.
Oh, it feels like eating
Could
a cat.
Mhm.
It's exactly what it feels like. That's the
My
perfect
first
example.
ever D&D
Like-
familiar with my first character was a pseudo dragon. So
Oh,
this one hurts me deeply.
Well, it's kind of like the horse argument where it's like, why would you? Like, maybe you could, but
Yeah.
why would you?
yeah. Oh, Peyton, this one was
See-
mean.
You hurt me and
Well, you
Drake
see,
emotionally.
Well, it's funny here too because like I couldn't imagine doing it because like you said cat, and like that's the perfect example. But then I remember growing up with my uncle who's from Mexico City, who talked about how they used to eat cat.
People
all the
do it.
time. Like it was just like
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, cat. He said cat would go by a couple times. Like the cats, dogs too a little bit, but mostly cat. Like cat would walk by again, walk by again. It's a stray cat. It's food. Now, to be fair, he was really, really poor in Mexico City. So, just as a clarification there, but I remember
Yeah,
him
this
talking
was
about
not
that and just
fine
being
dining.
Right. This
horrified.
wasn't
Yeah.
okay, kids, let's go find a cat for our Sunday dinner.
Yeah, you know what?
Yeah.
You
But-
know
but
what,
it was-
Jimmy?
it
It's your
was-
birthday. We're gonna go find a cat.
Yeah,
But it was a fairly
Unfortunately, does that
accepted
put it in
practice.
C
It wasn't
tier?
like a
Because
weird
it's
thing.
like,
I mean, it can't be.
It's
All
gonna be.
over.
It's gonna taste good.
It's
It's alligator rules again.
yeah. It's gonna be
Yeah.
fairly tender. It's gonna be. You're gonna eat it off the bone. Like I'm gonna hate
Yeah.
it every second because it's eating a pseudo dragon. But honestly, it might
It's
be
gonna be pretty
B tier.
bird-like.
It's gonna be better than a Giralon. Better
the
than
more
an
you name it,
Ettercap.
the more high B tier it kind of sounded like.
Yeah.
Yeah,
At
I
least
low key,
logically.
like if we're going off of like no morality at all, you never met it, you
Yeah,
never
you
looked
cut
at the
those
eyes, you
little
killed
legs
it.
off. You throw the legs over a grilling grate. The body, you fillet off the.
That's gonna cook
sides.
like a rotisserie chicken.
It's gonna cook like a rotisserie chicken.
See, that my thought. That my first thought
All
was
right,
rotisserie
S tier
chicken.
it
That
is.
was
You've
that
convinced
was
me.
exactly where I went.
Like I hate to
$5
rank it
at
highly,
Costco.
but I really truly think this might be a
I-
B or an A
It keeps
tier.
going up.
I think it's
I'm
an
cool
A
with
tier.
B.
It's
I think it would taste really good.
it's just like it's a magical chicken meat. Really, like
It is. It's
So-
a
so,
magic
okay.
chicken.
So we'll say it's A tier, but because we want to feel we just to feel bad because we feel bad, we'll make it like a
yeah,
low
bottom
because we feel bad about ranking it an A.
bottom of A tier.
Is that fair? We go with
Yeah,
that.
Yeah.
bottom A with a frowny face next
yeah.
to it.
Every time it just went up a tier as we gave
Yeah.
points.
Yeah, we
you
just
see,
kept talking about.
the unicorn is in the bottom of its tier because of the curse and something hunting you down afterwards. The pseudo dragon is in the bottom of A for a similar reason, as I will personally hunt you down and murder you if you eat a pseudo dragon. So
I will kill everyone in this room and then myself.
yes, exactly.
Yeah.
You pop a pseudo dragon on the table, and we're going out like the end of Hamlet.
Oh hell yeah!
That's funny.
All right, Bear, you got
All
the last
right.
one.
Okay.
Yeah. That's a fair
Oh
ranking.
boy.
Okay. All right. Let's do it. Now this is exactly what because I almost used part of this one in mine, and I'm like I'm like okay I gotta use something different. So our last one here is by Drakathan himself,
Yeah, you might have noticed
Myconid.
there was one missing.
Mm-hmm.
the mighty Myconid.
We got the shroom people. All right, I'll let
So
you guys.
this is
discuss.
one that-
Yeah, before Drake goes into it.
This is one that I would call it very divisive because like okay so I look at my brother loves mushrooms. He's obsessed. He actually grows mushrooms that he sells to local restaurants
Oh no way.
and all that stuff. The kid loves like he's huge into he studies the backgrounds of it. It's a huge for him. I want to, but I cannot stand
I'm not a mushroom fan.
mushrooms. I can't the texture is just like a big loogie. I can't do it.
Oh, but snail mucus is
but-
appetizing.
Yeah, literally frying shit in snail mucus is not gonna have the same texture.
Tell me you've had something fried that didn't work. I mean, you just fry that's it. It's bad. You fry it up. It's good.
Not in fucking
However,
mucus.
I don't tell you if I don't tell you it's mucus, you're gonna eat it. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. Yeah, if I just don't say nothing, be like, wow, this is really good. What is this? I'm like, don't worry about it. You're like, okay, that's great. But if I say it's mucus, you're like, I hate
Just
you.
like the
Please
olives
don't
in
tell
my
me, 'cause,
dish.
like,
Just
this is
don't worry about
delicious.
where the oil's coming from.
Right.
Yeah.
But that being said, like you run into the issue that they are sentient, that they have culture, that they have all that. However, I bet those bastards, if you like mushrooms, those bastards are
Okay,
delicious.
so
I'm sure.
if we're talking sentience, okay, purely based off mushroom, honestly, this is to me high A or low S because people eat mushrooms. It's a giant mushroom. You're gonna have a lot of food there.
Yeah.
Morality, sentience, and all that. You're right. It is sentient, but is it really? Because myconids themselves are all operating within the hive mind.
I was it's a hive
True.
mind. That is
So,
fair.
all right.
But then you could argue it's almost worse because each one is the representative of the entire.
Yeah, but it still lives
like-
without them.
Like when you cut it
If
from
someone
the hive.
if someone ate like a single one of your skin cells, you know, you wouldn't be like, oh my God, my life's over. You know?
Yeah.
No, but it'd be
But-
weird, right? I'd be like, you just ate
but
my
again,
skin
It
cell.
are
would be
they-
very weird, but
Are they in a hive
The
mind though, or are they just
pseudo-dragon-
communicating all telepathically? Because that's kind of the confusion for me. For example, in Baldur's Gate
is this
3, it's
Tyranid rules?
very, very like implied that it's a hive mind, but also you have Glut, who is a myconid that personally wants to overthrow the existing like leader of the myconids. Like, there's definitely personality there, so they can't just be part of the hive mind. But at the same time, if they're just segments of said hive mind, the hive mind still exists without them. So
exactly.
Yeah,
It's kinda
that makes
confusing.
it sound not
Well,
as
and then-
bad. And like, I want to go back to this like pseudo dragon thing because if it's a familiar, if it's high enough, it's linked with at least one of your party members.
yeah,
So
Yeah.
like something like that sucks way more from the party's perspective than a random hive mind that it's kind of in your way, honestly, mattering on the setting.
we did put something that is
But-
literally the barbarian looks at the wizard's familiar and says, "I'm hungry." We put that in A tier. So
When
Yeah.
I snap its neck, you're gonna
Yeah.
feel it personally.
yeah.
See, here's the other thing too, though. Like these things are always growing, so you could
Don't
theoretically
even
eat them without
Oh, we
go
go
there.
killing
like
them.
farm system.
Okay, now we've just gone on from like, is this thing sentient to like, let's fucking torture it.
Now this
Well,
is
no,
the
no. But
Walking Dead.
what if it did it for you?
Let's just
Well, no, 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 okay,
perpetually
okay.
just
Follow me.
slice strips of flesh off this
if it did
thing.
it for you, I mean, well,
Well, that's what I'm saying. If it did it for you, so like it's your because like again, you can look at their whatchamacallit, their hive mind, but then you can look at like a lot of examples of hive. Let's go to like video games with like Mass Effect. You have Legion and the Geth. So Legion is its own, but it's also part of the hive mind. So, but he's part of your teammate. He's cool. He's like, look, you want some mushrooms for the soup? Cool. He just he grows a little mush like Groot, right? Groot picked a flower off himself because it didn't matter. So he just pick a little bit of the mushroom off, and if he's
That's
if he's
true.
like truffle, cool. He
I-
can shave a little bit of the truffle
Okay.
off. He's like, I need a
I
haircut
got-
anyway.
If
So it's
that's
not
how
like-
it works, that could actually be a selling
I
point.
have to jump in, unfortunately, here. If you read their attacks, their bludgeoning, their melee attack does bludgeoning and poison. They're poisonous mushrooms.
They can be,
They-
but I
they
would
can
imagine
be
there's
poisonous.
different types.
Yeah, that's
There's
fair.
going
There's-
to be
I
poisonous
have a
ones,
plan
and there's
for
gonna
that.
be
Okay.
Yeah, how would you
I have
handle
a
it?
plan.
If it's not poisonous and we could ethically source myconid, I think it's A
Ethically
tier.
source.
I think it would be A tier.
So-
Honestly, it's mushroom.
Okay.
If it's not poisonous, yeah. But we'll hear what Drake has to say about it.
I think you can make your truffle butter like anywhere you
I'm
want.
gonna be totally real. I don't think this is gonna sell you any more than we already have. But
He's like, you did a better job selling it than
so
I did.
I wanted to make mine like pretty culturally relevant to the fantasy world here. So you've heard of Chicago style, Sicilian style, Detroit style pizza.
Mhm.
You may have even heard of margarita pizza. But are you ready for dwarven style margarita myconid pizza?
I'm so ready.
Hell yeah. So, originally margarita pizza came from the real world, from a breed of elf called the Italians. And we know they're elves because there wasn't even any damn margaritas in the pizza, it's just named after some beardless queen. But as dwarves are wont to do, they took what they wanted and laughed as the nice knife ears seethed about it. So, dwarven style myconid margarita pizza today. Ingredients. First, you're gonna need a big pot that is big enough to feed the Great Halls. For the dough, you're gonna need 2.5 cups of tree ant flour, 1 teaspoon of yeast, and a whole fuck ton of margarita mix and tequila. Now, some of you dwarves might not have heard of tequila. It's a magical elixir brewed by a group of wizards called the Mexicans, and they are our strongest allies. The sauce is 1 cup of diced vampire hearts cut from living vampires, garlic, and dwarf beard hair for luck. Toppings, you need 1 myconid head.
How much dwarf beard hair?
You're gonna need 1 strand of it.
Okay.
For toppings, you need 1 myconid head and 1 pair of elf ears. Okay, so here's the directions. Step 1. Throw the elf ears in the trash. That was just to give you a reason to kill an elf.
Fair.
Step 2. Preheat your forge. Yes, forge. Ovens are for humans and their soft, uncalloused baby hands. To a toasty 4,500 degrees.
Okay.
3. Pour the flour and yeast into the biggest bowl you can find. Pay attention, this is why it's called a margarita pizza. You're gonna pour 1 full margarita glass into the mix for every insult left unanswered in the Great Book of Grudges. If done correctly, the mix will resemble 1 part dough for every 53,000 parts tequila.
Fair.
Step 4. Grind up the vampire hearts and garlic in your food processor. The regenerative properties of the vampire ensures that the poisons found in myconids are counteracted. The garlic makes sure that the vampire heart sludge doesn't regenerate back into its original form, and you don't gotta remove a live vampire from inside your gut. Number 5. Pluck a single hair from the beard of a woman you fancy and throw it into the sauce mix. Number 6. Remove the head of the myconid and dice it into pizza-sized toppings. You are only allowed to use an axe no smaller than the length of your beard. Knives are for humans and their uncalloused baby hands. 7. Throw all the ingredients into a forge and begin drinking. Optional, you may pray to Moradin and he may bestow the pizza with the dwarvish blessing of being somewhat edible. 8. Continue to drink until only 1 dwarf remains conscious. That will determine how long the pizza will stay in the forge. The last dwarf standing has earned the right to remove the pizza from the oven and have the first slice.
Okay,
there you go.
So I do have some concerns about the integrity of your dough being mostly margarita. However,
it's dwarven.
And I'll be honest, the margarita sounds dope right now. So I don't think I'm going to deduct points for it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I tried to be culturally sensitive to the dwarvish people.
Culturally insensitive to the elven and human people, but culturally sensitive to
as per the dwarven culture.
Fuck those guys.
As per the dwarven culture.
As per the dwarven
Here's the
culture.
problem. Here's my problem. You're like, ew, mucus, but let's get some hair from multiple people.
From a woman you fancy.
Yeah, that's different, dude. That's different. Well, you've never plucked a beard hair from
a
a woman you
when
fancy?
they're in love.
It's like that.
It's good
plus
luck.
a beard hair.
The vampire hearts threw me for a loop, but when you explained using
that's
them
the one
to extract the toxins, I was like, that's pretty smart.
And then you eat some garlic to keep it from becoming a vampire inside you.
But he said living, but they're undead. So you can't get it. It's an oxymoron.
Okay. Well, semantics. You think the dwarves would specify
That's all I'm
that?
saying.
The recipe will be edited.
Yeah. I was already solid on A, and a pizza with the mushroom toppings. Again, I'm not a mushroom guy, but people put mushrooms on their pizza all the fucking time. So
hell yeah.
I think the real thing is that dwarfs would have a pizza that doesn't involve a mass amount of meat with it.
Yeah, but it's got a mass amount of liquor.
Margarita pizza.
I want to point out that this is just going to be like a fucking 400-gallon bowl of just like alcohol
with mushroom bits,
with like some dough floating around in it. Which is then
I kind of hate it.
Which is then put into a forge that's 4,500 degrees for potentially hours.
2 seconds.
Because
that's true. It takes forever for them to actually get wasted. It should be only for seconds.
At no point did I say form this into a pizza.
Right. Okay.
Well, the best part of it's a tie because 2 people pass at the last point. Like, how long is it going to be then that it's cooking? It's going to be
exactly. And these are dwarves we're talking about. So this could be like 3 days of cook time.
Okay, so I think myconid goes top of A. Drake's recipe kind of maybe settles bottom of B. Purely for the inability to form a dough.
It's the only one to freaking lower.
Hey, that's insensitive to the dwarvish people.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
It was very thematically on point, and I will give you that. But it sounds like an abomination.
Yeah, I thought you were
nature.
about to throw it in F tier just because the recipe.
To
the
be
recipe
honest,
being...
to be honest, it sounds like an excuse to drink and get a little protein at the same time. So
yeah, so basically like a fishing
See,
trip.
I would just I would just lose on purpose so that like I didn't have to be the one to eat it, but it's just an excuse to go
coward talk,
drink.
dude.
And I'm down.
That is not very dwarfy.
Yeah. The winner of the drinking contest gets more drinking. Come on, and like baked margarita. I don't know if that's good or not, but I got to find out.
Well, yeah, but all the alcohol's
exactly.
cooked out of it. You cook all the alcohol. Once you heat it up, the alcohol's all gone. So you're just having like vaguely fruity margarita.
We've been boiling this aquarium of tequila for hours, and you won't even partake.
Don't worry, Drake. I will drink some of your myconid pizza margarita with you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
See, it's so much worse when you
I'll
say
pour you
drink
a
it.
glass of
Somehow
my
made it worse.
margarita myconid pizza.
But okay, so we're saying A tier
For the myconid.
for myconid.
Yeah.
I'm happy with that because I'm not a mushroom guy, but I can totally see my brother being
as
all
long
over
as it's
it
not
and,
toxic.
you know, I'm
or
definitely
if you can pull
butter,
out the toxins.
You know,
Yeah, there's got to be a way to
Or
do that. It's a common
if it's
enough
a little bit of
creature.
I mean, even purified food
Exactly.
water
Yeah,
removes poisons and toxins. So
and I'm guessing that there's like different species. You have the poisonous, non-poisonous. You have potentially the psychedelic. That might be kind of fun.
Oh,
you know what
yeah,
I'm saying? The
for
truffle
sure.
butter
Yeah,
there.
yeah.
Psychedelic
So,
margarita glass.
that's quite the psych trip buddy you've got with you. A
Journey.
myconid who's always high on his own psychedelic mushrooms, and he just lets you take a nibble off of his arm when you want to trip.
I got a character
Bro, you want to
idea.
hit this arm?
Hell yeah.
Okay.
All
So
right.
so we're saying A. I'm good with A.
Hell
I'm happy.
Yeah, A it is.
So we've got S tier is Cave Fisher and Grick. A is Myconid, Remoraz, Rock, and Pseudo Dragon with the frowny face. B is Flump, Flail Snail, and Behir. C is Giralon, Ettercap, and Unicorn. D is Gelatinous Cube, Meanlock, and Nothic. We good with that list?
I think so.
I think so. I wish the gelatinous cube is higher. I just don't think I'm clever enough to figure out a recipe where it works without pretending I know science.
Someone in
you know?
the comments
I'm
definitely
gonna fail.
will.
Yeah.
I'm gonna fail chemistry if I try to explain why I think it would work. Basically,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I feel
Nothic
like-
and Meanlock, I feel like might need to switch places. I don't know.
You think Meanlock is lower
Yeah,
than
you
I
were
that?
really
remember the
creeped out
Nothic
by
is
the
literally
Meanlock.
just a person. I was very that is very upsetting.
I'm
creature to me.
okay. To me, they're basically tied at the bottom of D, so I'm fine whatever order they're in.
Yeah.
I think I will call it a tie. As long as I know that like one is not grosser than the other.
Yeah.
As long as I know neither of them are touching my plate,
Exactly.
I'm happy.
Yeah.
D tier is don't bring that shit near me.
Yeah.
C tier is
I will fight you
it's
Can
frowned
be
upon.
eaten.
Tuesday night.
and he's so the C.
I still feel like my flail snail was done dirty.
No, I think
I'm
Flail
sorry.
Snail. Look. Your presentation for Flail Snail helped it out of C tier,
Did it? Did
in
it?
my opinion. To me, Flail Snail was
the
was-
fucking fryer filled with literal mucus.
Look.
Look, all I'm saying is that you've probably eaten pubes when
Okay,
eating
look.
out.
Yeah,
So,
but like
if
that's
somebody-
not in the fucking recipe.
That's true. Yeah.
You don't go to Burger King.
One
and
I'm
it's
just
cube
like,
saying,
from
it's
a
like,
woman you
if I didn't tell
fancy.
you about it, if I didn't tell you about it, you know, I'm just saying you'd probably be like, "Ooh, this is some good ish. This is some high quality, yummy ish."
Yeah,
That's
but
all I'm saying.
that's in spite of the
Yeah.
pube, not because of it.
Yeah, corporate's not sending out a memo where they're like, we really need to restock our pube
Yeah.
hairs. We got to get new staff.
Well, I was going back to the flails now, but no, I got you. I'm with it. I'm with it. I disagree respectfully.
why
But
don't
it's
we
okay.
put?
Respectfully
Why don't
eat some pubes.
What the fuck is this
Respectfully.
podcast?
Why don't we put Flail Snail at the top of B,
Oh,
so it's
fuck.
right under Pseudo Dragon, right above Flump? How's that feel?
All right, that's fine.
I think
that
sounds
feels
good.
a little better.
Okay.
Unless Flump's a
At the end of the
pancake
day,
that
it's
can
meaningless,
cook
but it feels a
himself,
little
and then he's
better.
actually
Right,
S
right.
tier, and we were
Exactly.
wrong.
Oh, that's true. That might be K Fisher.
We were wrong the whole time,
All right.
but
I'm happy
I'm
with
happy
this
with
list.
this.
I had a good time.
Yeah, no,
All
I
right.
I'm
agree.
hungry.
Yeah. I mean, if you weren't hungry, we'd be doing something wrong.
well, that sound means it's time to go. I think we got one going on now today. So it's up to you now in the comments to vote on your favorite today. Let us know if we were completely right, if we were completely wrong, if you think the gelatinous cube would be amazing, if you think that my flail snail should have been an S tier, just let us know there in the comments. We'd love to see some feedback here. This could be a real fun one. Seeing your recipes that you come up with.
And if you want to help us keep making episodes like these, commissioning art, paying editors, because like poor Peyton, he ain't doing this for free, then you can go ahead and subscribe to our Patreon. All the money's going to go towards keeping this podcast running and hopefully having some more intellectually stimulating conversation like today. I will say we do actually have a benefit on there right now for sure. We are going to be offering our personalized recipe cards there for you to use in your own homebrew games. Or if you want to try to cook it yourself, if you want an aquarium full of tequila in your oven,
good luck. Go
right ahead.
Oh,
now we are not responsible for any fire hazards there. You go right ahead. But yeah, subscribe to the Patreon. We'd be very grateful.
Yeah, also, if you want to check out our previous episode, this is the second one in our series. We're coming out with more, and I'm sure everyone in the description is going to put how you can support their personal channels and links to their personal channels as well. So support any way you can. If we have a sponsor that you like, make sure to sign up for that. We'll have that in the description as well. And I'm just glad to have everyone here just enjoying more of our episodes.
Yeah. And I've had a lot of fun ranking these things with you guys. Thank you all for watching. Make sure to check everyone's channels out, like Luke said, with the links in the description. And we will see you guys next time when we tier rank dwarven women or something. I don't know. This is going off the rails.
They're all S's.
They're all S's.
They're all S's.
If she's
the bigger the beard.
Yeah, they're same place, same place.
Hell yeah.
All right. Later.
Bye, everyone.
we love you. Dope. It's almost like we're a real production.